Rand Water says it has been left without a choice but to introduce water cuts that will affect several municipalities as well as 3 metros in Gauteng and the Rustenburg Municipality in the northwest. Last night, the bulk water supply company introduced water cuts which will last between 1 and 10 hours. Rand Water says its bulk water provision to municipalities has increased from an average of 4,300 million litres of water to 4,900 million litres of water. Currently, water consumption in Gauteng is almost double compared to the global average at 300 litres against a world average of 173 litres per person per day. All right, now let's get an update. We are now joined via Zoom by Rand Water's spokesperson, Makenosi Maroo. Very warm welcome to you and thanks very much for joining us here on SABC News.
Good afternoon, Flo, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Yeah, let's start here. We understand that Rand Water has had to increase its water supply since spring from 4,300 million litres a day to 4,900 million litres a day. Can you tell us exactly what is the reason perhaps behind this increase, and perhaps maybe paint a picture for us of some of the challenges that Rand Water is facing, where we now have to face what is being called, and of course this is a terminology that's coined on social media, what's being coined as water shedding?
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Flo. Yes, indeed, we have increased our capacity in terms of providing water from 4,300 to 4,900. The reason why we have increased the figures is because there is high consumption in Gauteng. So we have been asking our end users to use water sparingly. But remember, last week we implemented stage 2 restrictions. However, these restrictions did not yield the result, the desired result. As a result, we have introduced new measures.
Yeah. And then talk to us about, the impact of, if there is indeed an impact, with Eskom's problems with load shedding on the water system. Is there some sort of interlink? I mean, every household needs water and electricity. So one wonders whether, the one has impacted the other, or if those two situations are not in fact interlinked.
No, look, there is a link. Actually, there are a number of challenges. Obviously, it's a high consumption. End users are using too much water. We are seeing, obviously, because of the heat wave, people are using too much water. Secondly, also, load shedding is not helping. Eskom is not assisting. With rainwater, we have 3 types of pumping stations. We've got primary and secondary. So the primary, secondary are not affected by Eskom because we've got an agreement with them not to load shed us.
Yeah.
But with tertiary pump stations, we do have a problem because from time to time we do get load shedded. We have generators in place. Obviously, it takes time for a generator to kick in. Once we have power, when we have power back, it means we have to go back to the grid. It takes time. So if we have a power trip of only 15 minutes, it takes us back about 3 to 4 hours. So it takes time. Electricity and water, they're two different. With electricity, it's easy. You can just switch on the light. With power, remember, water has to fill it into a reservoir, and then it has to go through the pipes. So that power trip of 15 minutes makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And let's talk about the areas which are most affected by these water cuts, and what measures have been put in place to ensure that there is little disruption in places such as health facilities. I mean, I'm hearing things that are quite concerning, and maybe you can give us confirmation of whether or not this is true. But we're hearing about households might not be able to have access to water for 10 to 11 hours, and maybe you can just shed some light on that, because I think there's been quite some, and rightly so, quite some concern around those rumors, or whether it's true or not.
Okay, maybe let me just give background and context, then I can talk to what you're just asking.
Yeah.
So as a second measure, we have introduced it's called the flow control management system. So this measure will ensure that rainwater takes full control of water supply. This means we no longer rely on end users to reduce consumption, because we've tried that and it has failed. As you know, we started applying this control flow from yesterday, I think around 8 o'clock in the evening. And the municipalities that are impacted, we talked about the city of Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, West Rand, local Mogale City, and Rustenburg. So all these municipalities are impacted. But what we're doing is we are trying to control the outflow of water from our reservoirs. So what we're doing is we're saying to municipalities, you would get a certain amount of water from our reservoir into your reservoir.
Yeah.
Then a municipality will make a decision how much water they're going to supply to particular households.
Yeah, and then something
Yes.
that's always been raised, and it's been pointed to Eskom around the issues pertaining to infrastructure and ailing infrastructure. And I wonder if these are some of the concerns or problems that Rand Water is also faced with. And something else that had been pointed out was that what's happening is that Gauteng is starting to have, or for a number of years actually, a growing population, and there's just an influx of people coming into Gauteng province, and one wonders if these are some of the challenges that Rand Water is then faced with at the root of the problem.
You know what, I would say that challenge would be more for municipalities, because remember, in terms of planning, it would be on the side of municipality. But we get a demand from them every year. We get a demand for each municipality, how much water they would require. Yeah. And then we're able to supply that demand. So in terms of their planning, the municipality will advise us how much water they need per day. Then we calculate based on their needs. With regards to, I think your question was two-pronged. You asked about the infrastructure.
Right,
yes,
right.
With rainwater, we do look after our infrastructure. We maintain our infrastructure. You'd see from time to time we have shutdowns for that particular reason, so that we maintain our infrastructure. We take out old pipes, we replace. Yes. We also we also make sure that we have more pipes, we have bigger pipes, newer pipes. Yes.
Yeah,
we do maintain our infrastructure.
In fact, we'd understood that Rand Water was to invest, I think the sum was put at 28 billion Rand over the next 5 years to upgrade and maintain. Are we specifically talking about this 28 billion Rand that is indeed being directed to what you speak of?
Yes, definitely. And obviously, we are also building a reservoir in Sekerbos. So that's part of the budget where it's going in terms of maintaining our infrastructure.
All right. Makenosi, a pleasure talking to you. Thanks very much for shedding some light for us there, and hopefully you can shed some water for us. Thanks for giving us your time.
Thank you.
All right. That is Makenosi Maroo, who's Rand Water's spokesperson.